Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in as always. So, I'm Jenny. For those of you who are not aware of my channel, thanks for subscribing. Make sure you hit that subscribe button in order to get content and videos and so on. So, before we even begin, what's coming up for you guys this week? Make sure you mark your calendars for Friday, October the 24th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, or 12 noon Mountain Standard Time, because I'm going live right back here on YouTube and offering you some free clairvoyant psychic readings. Now, the only way you're going to be able to ask me a question for free is if you're tuned right in here with me. I'm going to be here. Who else is going to be with me? So messages coming through. I have no idea. Whatever spirit has for you, that message is specifically for you. So make sure you guys tune in, like my channel. It really helps, like the video and so on. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, there's a lot more content there as well. Jenny G Cousins, and I will follow you right back. I also have, and I forget to mention this, I also have a private group on Facebook called Higher Vibes with Jenny G Cousins. I do have a public profile on there and a couple other profiles, but look for the group. Okay, just make sure you ask to join and I will, sign you guys up. So no, it's free. It's a free group. So there's a lot of content in there as well with so on and so on, right? So I check that every couple of days or so. So I will get to you. And then, there's more connections in there as well. So I'm just saying, if you guys want to do that. So mark your calendars, of course, right? Now, we are moving into the official end of the eclipse season, October 6th. For those of you who have been watching my videos, you know that I've been talking about this eclipse season ever since it started on the 24th of August, what to do, what not to do, how to take advantage to this fullest energy. And we also have the super full moon in Aries. So whenever there's a super full moon, it's super duper, right? Like if I'm able to, I'll take a photography of the moon. This is one of the photographies I take. I have different photography counts on Instagram and so on, right? This here is one of my favorite photos I took when I was away on assignment, by the way. So I just kind of draw to what backgrounds I'm really pulled towards for this video for certain reasons. So where I'm at, we're in the autumn time now. Depending on where you are, you could be in the spring, the equinox and so on. I talk about the equinoxes in my other videos. That's why you guys should watch it. Go back and watch the videos, and you will see exactly certain dates that I mentioned. And you're going to be like, oh my God, how do you know that? Energy is energy. And this time for you guys, this is powerful because this is a week of soul transcendence for you. Like, this is when you're going to be taking more steps forward. This is when you're going to be a little bit more courageous and facing things head on. One of my appointments actually are booked on the super full moon. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, it's the day of the super full moon. Really? But you know what I mean? Utilize the energy. Utilize the energy. So let's just start off first with this week's energy, and then we'll move it up to every day, what to expect towards the end of the week, and so on. And if you guys do want to book a personal reading, just to let you know, soulworkwithjenny.com, because I do give out a lot of details in a reading for those of you who know me and have had a reading by me already. I just get messages coming in flooded nonstop. So anyways, October 4th and 5th, let's start it off this weekend. You're going to be reflecting a lot on what has happened to you, especially when that eclipse season started on the 24th of August. That was the 24th of August was actually my Irish wolfhound McTavish. That was his birthday. So certain dates, of course, will mean things for you and so on and so on. And of course, he had passed on a few years ago, but certain dates will stand out more towards the others. So you might find on like certain dates you could get triggered even more, especially that super duper full moon. I'm just saying. So this weekend you're going to be doing a lot of reflecting back over your time. That eclipse was about huge major life changes. Really look back at what happened during that eclipse time. Like what really happened? What did you go through? What ended? Expect the unexpected every single day right up until the 6th of October. So that energy is still happening. Expect the unexpected. When that eclipse has a message for you, wants you to end something, it could just poof, wipe that right out of you. Or boom, open up some huge major doors. That's why it's, really life changing. In the eclipse, as I've said, it just really wants to bring things back into alignment for you much better. So you could be like, I want space this weekend. Maybe I'm just going to do some light chores around the house. Maybe I'm just going to go out for a walk and like more nature. Like, look at this background here. Like, oh, mountains, the lake, the beautiful, oh, everything. You could be like, you know what? I'm just going to go for a drive, maybe more in the countryside, maybe more in nature, and just sit there. Because when you're sitting in silence, what's going to happen? You're going to get more messages coming through from the spirit world and from your soul. I do that. I'm open to receive messages, you know. Please give me some clarity on the situation. When you do that, you're surrendering it and you're trusting the spirit world, and you've got to really pay attention to what messages you're getting. It might not be something you want to see. Like it could be like, okay, that relationship period, that's not the right one for you. So pay attention and be really open, of course. So just really pay attention to ideas that are coming in. Don't worry about, oh my gosh, I'm getting ideas coming in. How? Don't worry about the how. Just start writing it down and then start doing research. What steps do you have to take, to create these different changes or whatever? Don't be so hard on yourself. We've all been through a lot. Gosh, I keep on wanting to move this way and I keep, like struggling and falling back off the other side of the eclipse, right? And off the cliff and off the mountain and off like all of that. Go with the flow. Things come together at the right timing, like things for delays happen for reasons and so on, right? It's like, oh, just when I thought this was going to happen, or oh, now this is going to happen. Sorry, not the right timing, or like whatever. Pay attention to that and trust, trust, trust. Maybe there's some things that you have to get out of the way first in order to get to your destination, in order to make those changes. So that's why these delays happen for reasons and many, many, many reasons. So you could be feeling a little bit light on with your sleep because the 6th and the 7th, powerful, powerful, super full moon in Aries. So Aries and Libra could be at a clash, by the way. So be very careful what you say to others. If you start judging others, take a look at what are you judging in them? You very well could be, looking at yourself. Take a look at how is that person looking at you? Like, don't ever judge anybody, you guys. Don't ever judge anybody. We all have stuff we have to deal with, and so on and so on. Focus on what you want to change within yourself. You have no control over anybody else but you, right? Yeah, but that person, don't worry about, yeah, but that person, take a look at you. If you're not connecting with someone, take that time back, reflect. There is a lot, I've talked about this in other videos, we're getting more connected to our soul tribes, our soul people, our soul connections. And we've been letting go of, certain other people and situations that we just don't get anymore, or we just don't connect with and so on. This is a very spiritual year, even though looking at world events, we're like, oh my God, right? Don't even get me going on that. You know how I think about these so-called leaders. There is no real leadership because if there was, the world wouldn't be the way it is. You know, I've talked about that in other videos. So, anyways, this super new moon or super full moon, I should say, this is a time when you have to balance that giving and receiving. Full moons can be very emotional. This one can bring some challenges and some tension in the neck, all of those things. You very well could be like, you know what, I got to set some boundaries here. Like, oh my gosh, there's that balance of giving and receiving. Because if you're the one constantly giving, you're blocking out prosperity coming into you in abundance because the universe is like, well, they're not open to receive. So boundary setting is important. The balancing between giving and receiving is also very, very important. You're going to want to be more independent. You could be like, gosh, I feel so restricted with this. And oh my gosh, like all of that confinement, restrictions, limitations. You're going to be like, enough of that. I need to create some independence for myself. Maybe I'm too dependent on this. So I have to be more independent in this areas. There's going to be so much more truth coming out, more secrets being exposed, especially during this time, during this super full moon. I mean, that happens all the time, right? We're seeing like, oh my God, more reality and truth coming out more and more and more and more, but especially during this time, you know what I mean? Because Mercury's entering Scorpio, which is huge transformation, things being exposed, but it can also be a time of a huge transformation for you, transcending forward, facing your fears. Like, believe me, my appointment on the day of the 7th, and I'm like, oh my God, Jenny, that was the 7th I got booked. Believe me, I'm facing some challenges and fears that day. However, that will be the time whenever you know you have more of a challenging day, let's say, this is when you psych yourself up. So before I go to my appointment, I will be, you know what, this appointment's going to go with ease. It's going to flow perfectly, going to be my higher self, my highest purpose. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a very positive experience. Psych yourself up. Start sending out and radiating that positive energy because you will see when you look back at the end of the day, that wasn't as bad as what I thought, right? We all have different challenges and situations and stuff we all have to deal with. Of course we do, right? But it's how we go about it in our mind that that happens, right? So you're facing things more courageous and such like that. So, you're going to be feeling a little uncertain, a little shakiness. Wear some hematite. I actually don't have any hematite on me today, but hematite is like that crystal that's, blackish silvery color, and it's like whenever there's a full moon, for especially, I will be wearing hematite that day, believe me, right? So there's certain crystals and stuff that helps calm you. Do some chanting, go for a walk before, but change your thoughts definitely because the moon energy will work with you. And if I get a chance that night, it depends. I'll take some photos of the full moon. I captured, if you go to my last video, I captured the eclipse full moon. Like it was amazing. It was just like, oh, thank you, Spirit, So I have that up as well. So now, as we're moving into the 8th and the 9th, Venus is entering Jupiter, Venus sextile Jupiter. So Venus energy relationships, right? Relationships can be anybody in general. However, there could be some karmic closures that day with relationships, and there can be some beautiful new heart openings as well towards your person. You could be more compassionate that time. You could be, showing more kindness during that time, more unconditional love, feeling a lot more enthusiastic and optimistic. Maybe you're getting your groove on. I'm just saying for some of you, and you're also more open to make some changes. So, let's say it's around your relationship specifically. Well, geez, I got to make some changes with my relationship. And relationship could be with anybody, maybe it's your partner, a friendship, a business, your neighbor, like whoever, and maybe you're like, I got to really show them some more compassion and understanding and kindness. You got to remember your person or friend or family or whoever, they go through things as well. especially, if you're seeing, I can really see that that person is struggling like every night, every day. Like I talk to a lot of people every day, and every night, or as soon as after I talk to somebody that I know is struggling, that I'm like, wow, they need some extra love, I will call upon my angelic team and ask them to wrap their wings around that person to help them heal or to help them, with whatever they're struggling with. I always do. So you might see more compassion as well during that time. And really, take a look at how far that you've come. Yeah, but I thought I'd be at this destination by now. I thought I'd have that. Don't do that. Look at the reality of, okay, did I make some long-term and short-term goals? Did I create a vision board? What steps have I taken forward? You got to remember, long-term goals take some time. I've put in classes together. I've been working on it for a while, right? But that's a long-term project that I'm working on. It's not like it will be done in a day, right? So it's like, yeah, that takes longer to work on. Short-term goals can be, let's get the hair appointment booked, right? So look at that. Don't be hard on yourself. There's a given opportunity, new opportunity for change at any second of the time of the year. Doesn't matter when it is. Certain times manifesting is much more bigger, as I mentioned in with the eclipse. Every single day was manifesting right up to the 6th. Huge, hugely. So that's why I take advantage during certain times energetically and why I do these videos. So you're going to be more open for making changes as well. So as we enter the 10th of October, or the 8th or the 10th of October, that's like a portal day. 10-10. You could be feeling a little bit like, oh, I don't know, I got a lot more energy now. Oh my God, I'm going to do that 100-mile workout. Or you could be like, boy, I need to rest. Listen to your body, because your body is really going to be talking to you that day on the portal gateway. Really pay attention to it. You're going to see more synchronicities. Like, really look back. When you look back, you're going to be like, wow, I can understand why things didn't happen then. Or, boy, I can sure see why things are happening now. I mean, it's like, wow, there's something personally that I've been wanting for a while. And every time I think it's going to happen, something happens or gets delayed. Right. So, for those of you who know me, you know what I'm talking about. Right. So now it's like, and I just even got, like word this morning. Oh, really? you know but it's like, I understand it. I'm like, and they're like, sorry, we thought this, and I'm like, don't worry, things happen for a reason. That will happen at the right time. I just got to frame myself from going out and buying little supplies for something without giving details, right? But I'm like, surrender it to spirit. I trust it. I trust it. This now gives me the opportunity to get classes done, to get this done or that done, or, you will see that and understand it. So this is why you really have to trust the process, hold your head up high and move on. Really take a look at what is holding you back. What lessons have I learned throughout this whole entire eclipse season, even this year, actually? Like, oh my God, we're in October. Like, we're done this year in a couple of more months. That is going to fly by really fast, really fast. So utilize this energy. We're in the completion of this year, universal nine year, year of the snake. We are healing, rebirthing, transcending old skin, embracing new skin. Your soul's going to be transcending leaps this week forward if you take advantage of this energy. Utilize this energy. The energy will work for you. You're going to be focusing on, I just need that inner peace. Right? So you might be like, you know what? I got to get in touch with nature more. Or I got to like maybe turn my phone off more. I got to take more time out for me. I have to block more time out for me if I want to get this done, or if I want to work on that, or if I want to make this happen, right? You're really going to be looking over everything, like relationships, your job. You're going to be only wanting to be connecting with more authenticity. It's a very authentic time. You've been letting certain people go, let's say, that you once used to really connect with, and you're going to be embracing new ways and new things. Yeah. None of this was working for me. All of these promises that were made, they didn't do it. All of these things that they said they were going to do, I haven't seen anything. It's been constant problems and mistakes, and I'm tired of it. Make some changes. Maybe your person has promised you so many things, and you're like, no. This is a time where karmic endings, as I mentioned, karmic time, relationships with that energy with Venus, karmic endings, to beautiful karma, new beginnings, dharma. You move into dharma. So it really depends where you're at. If we continue to stay with very karmic, toxic relationships, that's where your life is heading towards. But sometimes we have to spend more time with someone until we're ready to release them, until we're ready to say, I've learned my lesson. I'm moving forward. See, don't judge anybody. Don't ever judge anybody. We all have our own footprints, our soul's footprints to walk upon. It's like the beach. You could have that flat sand, but as soon as you start walking, you look back, there's footprints, of course. Of course there is. Right? So really face things this week. You're going to really see just how far you have gone beyond your limitations and constrictions this week. Like I will book certain appointments during certain times that I know I have to deal with that I don't want to deal with. So this is why this other appointment is booked. And I'm like, oh. Then I find out they said, Jenny, you have to have somebody come in with you. You're not going to be able to drive after this appointment. You're going to be dizzy. And I'm like, what? Like, what? And my dear friend Tony, who I've known for like, oh my God, like forever. He's taking a lot of time off work, take me to my appointment and to take me back home. Like, thank you, Tony. I'm so truly grateful for you. You have no idea. He's one of my closest best friends. I've known forever, forever, forever. Past life connection, everything. And every now and then I'll get a little insight with my friendship with him back in a past life. And I'm like, do you remember when you did this to me? Like, are you kidding me? Like, he's like, he's up. That was a long time ago. Right? It's like that brother energy. You know what I mean? So just keep this in mind, you guys. Like we still have like that Mars and Scorpio as well till November 4th. You know what I mean? Truth coming out, authenticity, rebirth, transformation, all of those things as well, right? We still have Chiron energy, which is healing old wounds that sneak up on you and, oh my God, I can't believe this is coming up and so on, because your soul is still healing. It's a journey you're on, real big journey. So this week can push it up a couple of notches, right? I'm just saying, So now I'm just going to pull a couple of cards. I don't use cards when I'm speaking, when somebody books a reading with me, because I'm clairvoyant. I don't need cards. However, I am going to use a couple of cards here on YouTube to see what messages the spirit world has for you. So of course you're not all going to like, gee, Jenny, I didn't, of course not, right? No. But if you do connect with the card, it's specifically for you. And sometimes as I'm talking, I get messages coming through from the spirit world. So I'll just say it, right? And I have people message us, Jenny, oh my God, wow. And I'm like, yeah, well, obviously that was for you. I don't know what messages come through at any given time. It just happens. For those of you who know me, you know that, right? So let's pull a couple of cards. I'm going to have a chat here with Whispers of Lord Ganesha with Angela Hartfeld. That comes up. There you go. Ganesha's remover of obstacles. I have huge Ganesh statues in my place. Like one Ganesh statue I've had for, oh my God, I don't know, like 15 years now. Like you can't lift it. It's solid cement. It's like an outside, but I don't want it outside. I want it here. It's on a little altar and everything. But anyways, right. So let's have a little chat and find out what the energy and the message is from the 4th to the 10th of October. The energy from the 4th to the 10th. 4th to the 10th of October for you. What are you guys up to? What are you like? What's happened to you during the eclipse? right? Make some comments. Let me know what's going on. How many of you guys are going to join my Facebook group? I'm there, right? Higher Vibes with Jenny G. I forget to mention it. Like I'm literally all over social media, but I forget. I do. Just Google my name, you'll see me. Okay, so now we have the card energetic movement coming up. So you know how I mentioned that as you're going to be really reflecting on, you could have more energy. Remember, I said you, wow, I'm going to run that 100 mile. Not that you're going to run 100 mile, but really pay attention to your body because whenever we're really stressed, it's so easy to build up energy blockages in our body, right? When we move our body, what happens is it moves that energy around. It's like if you guys were mixing something, you know what I mean, in the mixing bowl, you add this and that, right? But it's just going to stay there. But if you mix it around, everything gets blended, everything gets more of an even blend, right? So it's like with your body, you got to move your body around. Listen to your body. As I mentioned before, this is a year not to push your body to the extreme, with this universal 9 year and so on for many reasons, right? This is your gentle stretches. You know what I mean? Do your stretches and stuff. And when your body is feeling, oh my God, pay attention to that. Like really pay attention to that, right? Your body will tell you a lot where you're at, right? And certain energies when it comes in, especially when we have solar flares and solar storms, you could be like, wow, I'm just flat out exhausted. Yes. That's why I bring up when there's solar flares, and that could come at any time, right? That's very powerful. That's very powerful stuff, right? So let's have a little chat as well with our animals. I'm also an animal communicator for those of you who know with Diana Cooper, Archangel Animal Oracle deck. Let's have a little chat to see what messages are coming through from our animals. What's the message for the collective here for the 4th to the 10th? The message from the 4th to the 10th. Over. Ladybird. Accept happiness and good fortune. Archangel Premelit. Premnelik. I pronounced that wrong. Accept happiness and good fortune. Absolutely. Be open to receive. Be open. How many of you guys have had ladybugs coming? Like I've actually had a few land on me this year, right? Well, I mean the summer months. I'm like, oh, look at that little ladybug, right? So animals have messages for you. There's energy and messages when an animal comes to you. I mean, like animals can naturally come to us, like we can go for a walk, see a dog, let's say normally, right? Just different things. However, certain specific animals, whenever they have a message for you, they make it known. They make it more, hey, I'm over here. Certain things like that, especially if it's an unusual animal. It's like, oh my God, Jenny, I saw this. Believe me, I've heard that. I've heard that, right? If Nicole, if you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about, right? With that turkey. That's all I'm going to say. So, I'm just saying there's messages with our animals more so for you. So pay attention. And also too on the super full moon, you got to remember your animals are very sensitive. So certain energies like a super full moon, they could be acting a little off as well. Always pay attention to how they act and such like that. But I mean, if you have any concerns, of course, take them to the vet, right? There's more passings during a super full moon and new moon in certain times as well. So if you have that feeling, I don't know, I better go see this person or call them or whatever, do it, right? The Psychic Tarot of the Heart, John Holland. Venus energy. Let's see what energies and messages are for you. The 4th to the 10th. 4th to the 10th. 4th to the 10th. Confront. These cards don't lie. Believe me, the cards fly out. It was a few years ago. I had a reading by someone, and he's like, you know what, Jenny? I've been doing readings for many years. Never have I ever seen cards fly out like that the way they do. And I'm like, I'm just shuffling the cards. But that's how spirit talks to me using cards, right? So here, what are you guys going to be doing? You're going to be confronting situations. Look at that. Confronting situations. You know how I talked about that? How you're going to have more courage this week. You're going to be taking things into your hands. You're going to have the courage to step out of your comfort zone. You're going to have the courage to maybe talk to the person you need to talk to about things. However, the worst time to talk to someone is whenever your emotions are really high. Because what happens? We can say something that we regret. We can do something we regret. So if I was really upset with someone, let's say, and I know, oh, wow, I need to talk to them, I would make sure I'm completely calmed down first and then send them a message or then give them a call or whatever, right? So make sure you do that. So again, how many of you are going to join my Facebook group, Higher Vibes, Jenny G Cousins? How many of you are going to be right here with me live on Friday, October the 24th? You get a free clairvoyant psychic reading. If you want to join me on Instagram, Jenny G Cousins, by all means, follow me and I will follow you back. You want to book a reading? soulworkwithjenny.com. Until next time.